Marcus believed I was his future wife and spent 10 years earnestly pursuing me, but on the eve of our wedding, I overheard his conversation with a friend. "So you're just marrying Grace? What about that secret girlfriend you've been seeing?" Marcus was silent for a moment. "She's just a stand-in. How could she compare to Grace? If she behaves and doesn't make a fuss, I might consider keeping her around. Grace is very understanding, she wouldn't mind." The next day, his girlfriend caused a scene at the wedding. When she violently pushed me off the stage, Marcus recklessly rushed to protect her. She had pressed a piece of broken glass against her throat, threatening him hysterically, "Are you choosing me or Grace?" Marcus was utterly panicked. He shoved me aside, even though I was injured, and angrily shouted, "Get lost. I'm taking her to the hospital. If anything happens to her, I'll make you pay with your life." In that moment, my heart died. That night, I immediately bought a plane ticket to go overseas, leaving him. "Grace, can't you sign your own consent form for the surgery? You're calling me multiple times just for this? Just because Tiffany got hurt, do you have to break your bones too? I'm already exhausted. Please stop causing me trouble." Marcus's voice, tinged with anger and impatience, came through the phone. Ever since Tiffany caused a scene at the wedding, he had disappeared with her for half a day. This was the 20th phone call I had made to him. The previous 19 had all been hung up without exception. His cold tone made me pause. I pleaded. Tiffany pushed me. "The doctor said a family member needs to sign. Since you're already at the hospital, can't you come over for a few minutes to sign?" However, Marcus's reply was to forcefully hang up the phone. Facing the outcome I had already anticipated, I sighed. "Bring the surgical consent form, I'll sign it myself." The doctor hesitated. "Perhaps you should try Mr. Marcus again? Maybe he didn't hear clearly?" Yesterday, he had the entire hospital staff on standby, saying that if Tiffany came to the wedding uninvited and caused trouble and injured you, we should treat you immediately. In the past, for even a minor cold, Mr. Marcus would call all the doctors for a consultation and personally stay by your bedside for 3 days and nights. If he knew you broke a bone, and that Tiffany did it, he would be furious. After all, you're the most important person to him. I gave a bitter laugh. I once thought I was the one he loved most too. But now, it seemed that wasn't the case at all. At my insistence, the doctor finally gave me the consent form to sign myself. Up until the very last moment before surgery, I was still giving Marcus a chance, waiting for him to come see me. But all I saw was a social media post from Tiffany. In the animated photo, Marcus was holding a steaming bowl of congee, carefully blowing on it to cool it before feeding it to Tiffany, and even tucked her blanket around her. The caption read, "You said 3 years of companionship was the greatest blessing, and you'll spend the rest of your life reciprocating my feelings." Tiffany smiled blissfully. It was hard to imagine that just a few days ago, she had gone drinking after Marcus abruptly broke up with her, and after getting drunk, she had come to me, crying and pointing a finger at my nose, screaming curses. I was Marcus's secret girlfriend for 3 years and gave him everything. But he never touched me, saying that you, Grace, were his only future wife. How do you deserve his favoritism? I tried to make him soup, just like you, but Marcus slapped me, saying I couldn't compare to you in any way, not as pretty, not as gentle. He told me not to be a clumsy imitation. Her emotions were intense. He also said I was just a stand-in he found when he was bored, and that he'd kick me out when you came back to the country. Grace, why did you come back? Wouldn't it have been better if you just died overseas? At that time, Marcus was furious because she had offended me. He slapped her directly across the face and unhesitatingly threw her out the door. He stared coldly at Tiffany, saying with disgust, "We've already broken up. Stop bothering me. How dare you curse Grace? I think you're insane. If you want to die so badly, go do it yourself. Grace is my ideal woman. I won't have eyes for anyone else but her." Yet today, at the wedding, he had rushed to Tiffany without hesitation. As if terrified of losing a precious treasure, he frantically rushed her to the hospital for emergency treatment. My fracture surgery was completed quickly, and I regained consciousness as the anesthesia wore off, but suddenly opened the door to my hospital room and strode in, full of urgency. I thought he had a change of heart and came to see me, but to my surprise, the first thing he did was yank my IV arm out from under the covers, crudely turning it over and over. When he couldn't find what he was looking for, he angrily demanded, "Grace, where's your wedding ring? Hand it over, now." My hand was yanked sharply, and the IV needle pricked painfully inside. But I didn't answer him immediately. Instead, I asked, "What do you want my ring for?" That ring was something I had painstakingly designed myself and spent months hand polishing. It was the symbol of our lifelong commitment. "Tiffany likes it. She said she wants to wear matching couple rings with me." "Just give it to her to play with. It's just a cheap ring anyway, with hardly any diamonds, not worth anything." As he spoke, he saw me place the ring in the corner of the table. He snatched it up without hesitation and turned to leave. I stood up to grab it, almost forgetting that my leg was immobile. But my hand still gripped the ring tightly, refusing to let go. "Give it back." Marcus looked at me, his eyes full of disappointment. "Grace, I remember you used to be quite generous. How did you become like this? Quibbling over something so small?" I said, "If you insist on taking it, then we're breaking up." Marcus froze. He knelt directly on the floor, asking in disbelief, "What did you say?" His voice was shaky. "Our 10 years of history, you're just going to throw it away like that? Don't you know I can't live without you? I won't allow you to break up with me." I looked at him coldly, my heart growing numb. "But, you were the one who abandoned me for Tiffany first." Marcus buried his face in my arms, holding me tightly. "It's not like that. I only feel sympathy for Tiffany. She was so agitated she wanted to commit suicide. I had no other choice but to calm her down first. Once she recovers, I'll come back and we'll have our wedding. You have to believe me." Looking at Marcus's somewhat agitated face, I nodded and said, "Okay." Only then did he let out a long sigh of relief and left with a sense of security. But he took the ring with him and didn't return it to me. I touched my bare ring finger and picked up my phone to call a former colleague who was overseas. "Can you help me ask Wilson if there are any lab openings? I want to go back and continue my research." The voice on the other end sounded pleased. "Really? Wilson was quite upset when you left back then. He'll definitely be thrilled to hear you're coming back. I'll go ask for you right now." "But weren't you getting married? Won't it be inconvenient living separately from your husband later?" I instinctively wanted to make an excuse for Marcus, but then I thought it was ridiculous. So I said, "He's dead. He won't affect my work anymore." After hanging up, I bought a plane ticket back overseas in advance. Then I discharged myself from the hospital and went home to recuperate alone. Tiffany posted daily displays of affection on her social media post. I saw her posting about Marcus buying her designer clothes and expensive jewelry. I saw her hands clasped with Marcus's, wearing the diamond ring he had snatched from me. I saw them taking several sets of engagement photos, and Tiffany's caption read, 3 years of a secret relationship, finally able to openly show our love. Marcus also reposted it, but then deleted it instantly, afraid I would see it. He disguised it by reposting the invitation to his mother's 60th birthday celebration. Before the wedding, Marcus had specifically mentioned his mother's birthday to me, instructing me to definitely attend, to celebrate her birthday together as husband and wife. Eleanor also held my hand, enthusiastically inviting me to her home as a guest. Although the wedding didn't happen, I still went to Marcus's mother's house with a gift. But as soon as I pushed open the door, I saw an unexpected scene. The dinner party had already begun, and all the relatives were there. Marcus and his mother were sitting one seat apart, and the person surrounded in the middle was none other than Tiffany. Eleanor picked up a shrimp with her chopsticks and put it into Tiffany's bowl, urging, "Tiffany, you've lost weight recently. Eat more to nourish yourself." Marcus glanced at his mother. "Mom, she's very particular. She won't peel the shrimp herself. She needs me to peel it for her." Despite his words, Marcus still peeled the shrimp for her and personally fed it into her mouth. I stood there alone, feeling particularly lonely and awkward. Suddenly, someone noticed me and called out in surprise, "Grace?" When looked my way, his expression changed drastically. "Why are you here? My mom didn't invite you today, did she?" Without waiting for my answer, he came over and pulled me towards the door. I had a broken bone and was using crutches, and he yanked me so hard I almost fell. I immediately tried to shake off his hand. "Don't pull me, I can walk by myself." Marcus's tone was cold. "Grace, I don't know what your purpose is for being here today, but no one informed you to attend my mother's birthday celebration. If you're trying to use this opportunity to assert your claim or steal Tiffany's thunder, you're not welcome here." I was quite surprised and shocked. "What are you talking about? You specifically told me to come." Marcus opened his mouth, a flicker of guilt in his eyes. "I don't remember. Who knows if you're lying?" Eleanor also chased after me and said, "Grace, Tiffany hasn't been in a good mood lately, so I just asked Marcus to bring her for a meal. Can you please leave for now? Just in case seeing you upsets her." One by one, they all seemed to have completely forgotten what they had told me before. But that's fine. Since I wasn't welcome, there was no need for me to stay. I nodded. Just as I was about to leave, Tiffany came out. She actually tried to stop me. "Mom, Marcus, you're overthinking it. I'm not that petty. Sister is injured, and it wasn't easy for her to come all this way on crutches. Don't leave. Let's eat together." I pretended not to notice the smugness in her eyes and calmly said, "No, thank you for your kindness," but stepped in front of me, displeased. "You're staying. Tiffany isn't even bothered by you coming uninvited and is offering you a way out. Are you so blind that you disrespect her? If you dare to leave today, our wedding will be cancelled immediately. Don't forget, you already resigned from your job overseas for me. If you leave me again, you'll have nothing." I was stunned. Marcus had pursued me for 10 years. I hadn't initially planned to be with him. Until a truck rushed towards me on the road, and he unhesitatingly pushed me away, shielding me with his body. Before the ambulance took him away, he tightly clasped my hand. "As long as I can save you, I'm willing to give my life. I just hope you can give me a chance in our next life." I was finally deeply moved by him, resigned from my research job overseas, and returned to the country determined to marry him. But I realized that my loving actions had now become a weakness for him to exploit. I took a deep breath. "Whatever you want. Cancel it if you want." Then I walked out the door without hesitation. I didn't notice the fleeting confusion in Marcus's eyes. That night, I went home and packed all my belongings, preparing to go to the airport early the next morning. But I hadn't expected Marcus to return in the middle of the night. He saw the somewhat empty house and froze. "Where's our photo collage? Where are all the photos I took of you during our travels?" I casually replied, "They fell and broke, so I threw them away." Marcus hugged me from behind. "Why won't you look at me? Are you mad?" He sighed. "Honestly, why can't you just soften up a little? So many relatives were there today, and I had already introduced Tiffany to them. Then you suddenly showed up. How awkward was that? If you had just dropped off the gift and left, none of this would have happened." Suddenly, I felt him take my hand and slip something onto my ring finger. It was a woman's ring, but not the one I originally had. "Don't be childish. I'll honor my promise to you and we'll have our wedding tomorrow. Tiffany won't ever bother us again. Promise me you'll be there on time tomorrow, okay?" He leaned in to kiss my face, but I dodged him. Marcus's expression changed. Just as he was about to say something, Tiffany's unique phone ringtone chimed. He immediately got up in a hurry and ran out of the room to answer the phone call. A moment later, he instructed me, "I have to go out for a bit. Remember to be at the venue on time tomorrow." The door slammed shut, marking another sleepless night. I had no intention of going to the wedding, but after thinking it over, I decided to go, if only to return the ring to Marcus. However, when I arrived at the venue, I was stunned, because the bride wasn't me, but Tiffany. A huge poster displayed Tiffany's name, and she herself was wearing a white wedding dress, holding flowers, and greeting guests with a radiant smile. Seeing me, she immediately grinned. "Grace, you didn't actually think today's wedding was for you, did you? Marcus promised to have the wedding with me today a long time ago. It was just me saying I wanted you to witness our marriage with your own eyes that made him call you here. You should thank me, otherwise you wouldn't even have admission here." As she spoke, she suddenly gave a cryptic smile. My internal alarm bells went off, but it was already too late. She violently threw the roses, thorns and all, into my face. My face was instantly cut with long gashes, blood dripped, and my vision turned crimson. When saw this, he quickly ran over and forcefully pushed me aside. He looked at me with utter disappointment, seething with rage. "Grace, I kindly invited you to our wedding. Why would you lay a hand on Tiffany? Didn't I already give you a ring? What more do you want? I was originally going to get officially married with you, but now you've ruined your own marriage license." He left with a grim face, pulling Tiffany along, and through my crimson vision, I saw Tiffany's triumphant smile. I clutched my face, struggling for a long time before finally getting up. With trembling hands, I placed a letter and the ring at the entrance. Then, without looking back, I turned and headed for the airport. Marcus and Tiffany had already reached the stage at the wedding venue. Marcus slowly slid the ring onto Tiffany's finger and asked her, "Will you marry me?" Tiffany, full of smiles, was about to speak when someone suddenly burst into the wedding venue in a hurry. A bodyguard rushed in, holding a letter and a ring. "Mr. Marcus, bad news. Ms. Grace has left. She bought a plane ticket for an overseas flight, and the plane is about to take off. Forget the wedding, go chase her down quickly." After getting out of the taxi, I walked into the airport. Opening my phone, I saw a message from my former colleague saying that Wilson was willing to hold my original position for me. I breathed a sigh of relief and immediately replied that I would report for duty tomorrow. Everything had come full circle, ending up back where it started, as if it had all been for nothing. No one expected us to reach this point. After all, ever since Marcus fell for me at 15, he never hid his affection. Everyone around us could see that he was head over heels for me, even joking, "Marcus is rich, handsome, and devoted. You should just go for it." But at that time, I was completely oblivious, a bookworm who only knew how to study. I was wholeheartedly focused on my studies, setting ambitious goals for myself. No one could stop my progress, and no one could make me give up my future. Therefore, I often treated Marcus, who constantly hovered around me, as if he were invisible. When he tried to chat me up and flatter me, his words went in one ear and out the other. When he gave me roses and chocolates, I just threw them in the trash and walked away. My classmates all said I was too heartless towards him, but I continued on, getting into a prestigious university and then earning the opportunity to study overseas. After I went overseas, Marcus didn't give up. Instead, he pursued me even more intensely. He flew to see me once a week, and even showed up at our school's evening gala to publicly declare, "I love you." That was the first time I felt a strange sensation towards Marcus. Amidst the cheers of the crowd, my eyes suddenly met his eager gaze. It was as if a string in my mind suddenly snapped, and I finally caught a glimpse of the true nature of emotions. From then on, I couldn't treat him as a stranger. Unknowingly, I succumbed to his repeated advances. Later, when he was injured in a car accident while protecting me, I experienced what it felt like to be anxious for the first time. It was then that I realized Marcus had become an indispensable part of my life. So I accepted his love and became single-mindedly devoted to him, even resigning from my research job overseas and ending our long-distance relationship because of his complaint, "Every time I visit you, it's a half-day flight, and it delays my work a lot." But never told me that throughout the years he pursued me, someone like Tiffany existed in his life. Although others said she was my stand-in, how could true love ever be replaced by anything? Perhaps didn't love me, he just loved my indifference towards him. Having figured these things out, I stopped agonizing over it. I turned off my phone, boarded the plane, and departed for the overseas destination I hadn't seen in a long time. Meanwhile, at the wedding, Marcus and Tiffany were passionately exchanging rings. The bodyguard's abrupt entrance silenced the venue for a moment. Marcus frowned in displeasure. "What are you doing in here now? Can't you see the ceremony is in progress?" The bodyguard wiped sweat from his brow and handed over the letter. "It's about Ms. Grace. She left a farewell letter at the entrance, and she's probably already left now. Do you want to go after her?" Marcus had always been very attentive to anything concerning Grace, which had accustomed those around him to report every little detail. Marcus stood still, his gaze fixed on the envelope in the bodyguard's hand. He frowned. He snapped, "Get out. This is my wedding with Tiffany. Don't mention anything about Grace." The bodyguard was stunned, then apologized profusely, and turned to leave. Marcus's gaze remained fixed, seemingly wanting to chase after me, but he controlled himself. Tiffany suddenly spoke. Sister is really something, playing a joke like this at a time like this. I know she's never liked me, but she shouldn't disrupt our wedding this way. To think she even bragged a bodyguard to deliver a letter, that's quite an effort. Don't you agree, Marcus? Marcus snapped back to attention and subconsciously nodded. Grace, I thought she wasn't the type to do something like this, but I misjudged her. To use such underhanded tactics. Let's continue the ceremony, ignore her. As he spoke, he slid the ring onto Tiffany's finger. He leaned down and kissed her forehead. Tiffany asked him, smiling, Marcus, will you spend the rest of your life with me? Marcus instinctively wanted to say that he had only promised Tiffany a wedding, a ceremony, and that it had nothing to do with a lifetime commitment. He intended to spend his life with Grace. But he changed his words just before speaking. I do. The entire venue erupted in warm applause, but Marcus felt an emptiness inside. He scanned the room, looking for a familiar figure, wondering if I was playing a trick on him, but he found no trace of me. After stepping off the stage, he eagerly found an acquaintance and asked, Where's Grace? Everyone shook their heads, saying they hadn't seen me. A surge of anger arose within Marcus. Grace, why can't she understand anything I say? I instructed her several times to definitely come to today's wedding. Where has she gone now? If she doesn't show up soon, she can forget about me getting officially married to her today. Just as he was about to pick up his phone to call Grace, Tiffany approached. She took the phone from Marcus, sighed, Marcus, you're too soft-hearted and impatient. That's how Grace gets the upper hand and always maintains that high and mighty attitude with you. Think about it. How many years have you been tirelessly pursuing her? Won't you get tired if you keep playing second fiddle for the rest of your life? Contacting her now might be exactly what she wants. Let her stew for a while, and she'll learn her lesson. Marcus was hesitating when he heard Tiffany say again, Didn't you say you'd listen to me completely today? He felt guilty towards Tiffany, and upon hearing that, he immediately became completely compliant. He let Tiffany lead him through the guests, showing off, and toasting everywhere. By the time the wedding officially ended, it was very late. Marcus helped the drunken Tiffany into the car, then called Grace. I'm sorry, the phone you are dialing is currently switched off. Then came the beep, beep, beep of a busy signal. His face darkened. He left a message for Grace in her voicemail. What are you doing? So what if I was a little late getting back after the wedding? Do you have to act like this to spite me? You're at home now, aren't you? I'm bringing Tiffany back now. Stop making that sullen face, it's annoying to look at. I, Marcus, owe you nothing. After speaking, he put down his phone, took the wheel, and drove home. But when he arrived at the house, no one came out to open the door for him. Marcus, with Tiffany draped over one arm, struggled to take out his key with the other hand to unlock the door. Tiffany rolled over on the sofa, saying drunkenly, Marcus, I'm hungry. I want something to eat. Marcus then walked quickly to my room door and started banging loudly. Grace, get out here, Tiffany's drunk, come take care of her. Did you hear me? She said she's hungry. Aren't you good at cooking? Come out and make her some congee. However, there was no movement from inside the room, and Marcus began to hesitate. He leaned against the door for a moment, listening, thinking the lack of response meant I was upset. So he softened his tone. Grace, don't be childish, okay? But there was still no sound from inside the room. Marcus's heart pounded. He turned the doorknob and found it opened easily. Pushing the door open, he found the room so clean it looked as if no one lived there, except for a box placed on the table directly ahead. Marcus opened it and found everything he had ever given to Grace. On top of the box was a sticky note, which read, 3 is a crowd in a relationship, so I'm stepping out. Wishing Marcus and Ms. Tiffany a long and happy marriage, with children. The sticky note slipped from Marcus's hand. He picked up his phone and called the bodyguard from earlier that day. As soon as the bodyguard answered, Marcus eagerly asked, Was that letter you found really written by Grace? Where is she now? The bodyguard said, Mr. Marcus, it's true. I checked the surveillance footage. Ms. Grace left after placing it there. The letter said she was breaking up with you and going back overseas, which is why I asked if you wanted to go after her. But since you only have Ms. Tiffany in your heart now, then there's no need to worry. Marcus couldn't help but roar, "Shut up. What the hell do you know? Quickly, find out which flight Grace took. I'm going to find her right now." He hastily threw on his coat, intending to leave, but Tiffany had sobered up somewhat. She staggered after him, grabbed him, and hugged him, mumbling, "Marcus, shouldn't we have our wedding night today?" Marcus, however, pushed her away directly, saying coldly, "Grace is missing. I don't have time to play with you right now. Go on, get out of my way." Tiffany's drunkenness instantly cleared by more than half. She stood frozen in place, stunned. How could you? But had already frantically driven to the airport. In the early morning, the plane landed, arriving on the other side of the ocean. As soon as I turned on my phone, I found countless missed calls and text messages. Marcus seemed to have realized I had truly left and was gone, so he panicked, asking where I was and saying he was coming to find me. I initially thought about blocking him, but then I remembered Marcus's persistent nature when he used to pursue me. He would definitely just change his number and text me again, so I simply set my phone to do not disturb and reported to school. I returned to that quiet and solitary life of doing research alone. The only difference was the absence of the figure who used to always follow me around. I felt both relaxed and content. This was the life I had dreamed of for so long. Marcus's appearance had briefly led me astray and made me lose my original intentions, but thankfully, I was now back on the right path. It was just that the colleagues in the lab were always somewhat cautious when interacting with me. They avoided discussing any topics related to marriage, relationships, or death. Until one time, I couldn't help but ask, "Why do you always avoid me?" They exchanged glances before finally telling me the truth. "Someone told us that your husband passed away. We were afraid you'd be sad, so we never brought it up in front of you." Only then did I remember what I had casually said before, but it seemed too late to explain now. I gave an awkward laugh. "That's how it is, but it's okay. I'm almost out of the woods now." No sooner had I spoken than I heard a voice behind me. "Grace!" It was Marcus, his face grim, striding quickly towards me. I jumped up and smiled awkwardly at my colleagues. "I have something to do. I'm leaving now." I practically fled, but Marcus chased persistently behind me. My legs still hadn't fully recovered, so I gave up running and simply sat down to rest. Marcus was somewhat angry. "Why are you running? Am I going to eat you?" "Grace, why did you leave without a word? Do you know how long I've been looking for you? Stop being difficult. Come back with me. My mom said tomorrow is an auspicious day, so let's go back and get officially married." I calmly said, "I'm not going back with you. Giving up an ideal career once was foolish enough. I won't do it a second time. We've already broken up. This isn't up for discussion." Marcus gnashed his teeth. I didn't agree. "However," I said, "lower your voice, don't shout. It's embarrassing." Marcus choked, staring at me in disbelief. He didn't understand why I was treating him this way, but he used to treat me the same way. I thought Marcus would understand my meaning and back off. But to my surprise, he stayed put, following me even closer than when he first pursued me. I sighed. "Sure enough, for you, only what you can't get is the best. Once you have it, you don't cherish it, do you?" Marcus was stunned. "What?" His expression turned sour as he understood the meaning of my words. "Grace, how can you think that? How have I not cherished you? Haven't I been good enough to you? Is there anything you wanted that I didn't buy for you? Anywhere you wanted to go that I didn't take you? I only spent a few days with Tiffany, and you have to make such a fuss?" I didn't answer his question. I just shrugged and said to him with a half smile, "If that's how you want to think, there's nothing I can do. How about this? I agree to get back together with you." Marcus looked up at me, his eyes full of hope. "But there are conditions. You won't be the only one in my life. I'll be with Daniel from my lab. If you get sick, I won't visit you. If you want to go somewhere, I'll never accompany you. If the two of you have a conflict, I'll only support Daniel. I'll also have my wedding with Daniel, and maybe, if I'm in a good mood, I'll humor you." Marcus's brows furrowed tightly. "Grace, don't go too far. You know what too far means?" I laughed. This is exactly what you did to me. Marcus was completely stunned, opening his mouth but unable to speak. After a moment of silence, he said, "I'm sorry. I really didn't realize. Because you gave me so much security, I just subconsciously felt that you would always be by my side and never leave. So I unconsciously favored Tiffany, always thinking it would be fine to appease Tiffany and then come back to you. Please, give me another chance." I shook my head, saying somewhat regretfully, "It's too late. It's really too late. I'm very grateful that you taught me what love is, but when I poured all my effort into loving you, you completely drained my love." Hearing this, Marcus completely froze. His tears suddenly streamed down, unstoppable. He had always known me, knew I was quiet by nature and never lost my temper with people. Even when he was most persistent in bothering me, insisting on dragging me out to party all night before an exam, causing me to miss the test the next day, I had never been so distant with him. Speaking with this attitude was the most definitive farewell. After a long silence, Marcus wiped the tears from his face and nodded. "I understand." Then he abruptly turned and walked away, his back rigid, seemingly trembling and weeping. A moment after he left, my phone received a text message. "Grace, wait for me. I'll show you with my actions that I can make you forgive me. Until I agree to break up, you're not allowed to get too close to any other man." I immediately turned and walked towards the lab, found Daniel, a senior colleague I was quite familiar with, and directly asked him, "Daniel, can you do me a favor?" I took a photo of myself holding Daniel's hand, our hands clasped tightly together in the picture. I posted it directly on my social media post, without blocking anyone. The next second, my phone started vibrating furiously. Marcus yelled frantically from the other end. "Grace, who is that person? How could you hook up with someone else as soon as I leave? Were you cheating on me when we were together? Otherwise, how could you move on so seamlessly?" I slowly replied, "That's none of your business. Just remember this, no matter who I'm with, it won't be you." After saying that, I hung up the phone, leaving Marcus to rant hysterically on the other end. Perhaps he was truly stung by that social media post, as he remained silent and didn't appear before me for a long time. I focused on completing my research work, published a paper in a top journal, and also won an award for my academic achievements. When heard about it, he patted my shoulder, extremely pleased. "Grace, I knew you were a promising talent. You're naturally meant for academic research. Last time, when you left because of marriage, I was very sad but helpless. I'm glad you're back." I didn't speak, just smiled and nodded in agreement. At that year's graduation ceremony, I was naturally chosen to give the outstanding representative speech. After the speech, the entire venue erupted in thunderous applause. As the spotlight, accompanied by the crowd's gasps, shone on a particular spot, I followed the light and turned, only to see Marcus's figure. He walked towards me, holding roses and dressed in a suit, his eyes full of deep affection. The scene seemed to slowly overlap with that year, when I had first fallen in love with him. Marcus publicly presented the roses to me, observing my expression, and cautiously began, "Grace, I'm back." He took out a jewelry box and reverently took out a diamond ring from it. It was the one I had personally made for him. His voice was choked with emotion when he spoke again. "I found this wedding ring for you too. Please, come back to me." The people in the audience, unaware of the full truth, started shouting, "Say yes." But I just smiled faintly and walked straight off the stage. Marcus frantically chased after me, grabbing my hand. "Look at me. This is the ring you personally made for me. Are you really just going to throw it away?" I simply replied, "You forgot. I told you I'd never be with you, no matter who else I'm with. I even quit my job for you. Just say the word, and I'll stay overseas." Marcus immediately dropped to his knees, looking up at me pleadingly. "I've sent Tiffany away too, and I've publicly cut all ties with her. She'll never appear before us again. Just say the word, and we can have a happy life together from now on. I promise you, no one else will treat you as well as I do. So why don't you just give us another try, Grace?" He said everything he could, his words tumbling out quickly, as if afraid I'd slip away if he wasn't careful. I coldly shook him off. "Leave, you're in my way. Harass me for one more minute, and I'll call the police." With a thud, Marcus collapsed to the ground. He looked heartbroken, his eyes wide, sobbing with a look of disbelief. It took me 10 years to win you over. We could have had such a good life together. What happened for it to turn out like this? Only he truly knew what had happened. He should take responsibility for his actions. After that day, Marcus seemed to become overly obsessed. He continued to follow me relentlessly every day, just to repeatedly ask one question: Grace, do you really not love me anymore? What exactly happened between us? I didn't say a word, I just kept calling the police. Eventually, he was taken away for a psychological evaluation because he'd been brought to the police station too many times. His mother flew over and quickly took him away, bringing him back home to receive treatment at a psychiatric hospital. Before left, she asked me, Marcus didn't commit any major wrongdoing, why can't you just forgive him? I said nothing. For some people, reasoning is useless. In that case, actions speak louder than words. My forgiveness will never be given to those who have harmed me.